So hello and welcome to Can Robots Solve Your Piece Picking, Labor, Capacity, and Delivery Challenges? My name is Chris Russell, and I'll be one of the storytellers today. And with me is Mary Ellen Sparrow, the founder and CEO of NextShift Robotics, who will jump in with her many years of warehouse automation experience.
Thanks, Chris. Welcome, everyone.
So for planning purposes and to respect everyone's time, this webinar will be just over 20 minutes, and you can jot down my direct email on this slide for any follow-up questions or comments. And we'll also send a follow-up email to attendees with our contact information and all that stuff so you can find us. So today, we're going to tell a story about a journey of one organization that faced challenges in a high-volume piece-picking environment, evaluated different autonomous solutions, and in the end, deployed NextShift Robotics. So this story is representative of our direct client experience, but the characters and company information are made up for this webinar. And through this narrative, we're going to be highlighting the emerging business challenges that distribution and warehouse managers face today. We're going to also look at the pros and cons of different automation alternatives. And then we're going to look at the ultimate business application and results of a collaborative robotics solution. So, NextShift Robotics is a new piece-picking collaborative robotics application based out of Lowell, Massachusetts. And our robots are a second-generation robot. The original application was an agricultural robot that is deployed moving pots around in farmers' fields around the world. And we have taken that original robot platform and created a piece-picking application that can be used in a number of use cases. First, and what we are telling the story about, the first use case, and what we're talking about today, is a high-volume piece-picking or e-commerce type application. The second use case you may see is a replenishing use case, replenishing to that high volume pick area with the robot. The third use case we've seen is in a manufacturing environment, delivering kits or components to the manufacturing floor. And the fourth use case we've seen is using those robots as an adjunct to existing automation, like conveyors or sortation systems. And like I said, today we're going to focus on the high volume piece pick use case. We're going to tell that story. But I saw from the attendee list when I looked at it this morning that some of you would probably have interest in those other use cases. So bear with this example and extrapolate the salient points that you can from it on your own. And you can also contact me, always contact me, and I can walk you through how the robots would work specifically to your environment with your use case. And of course, a recording of this webinar is also going to be made available. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Let's talk about the why. What is important to you as a business? I mean, robots are cool, software is cool, but what you care about is the application of that hardware and software to create business value for you and your customers. So what is the business impact? What are the drivers? In other words, why do you care? Well, first you care because this new generation of automation, these collaborative robotics, this has the potential to significantly increase the productivity of your direct labor, typically at least 50%. And in some cases, we found close to 100%. And the second reason you care is because the technology will enable you to increase the velocity of your business. And this means getting the orders picked significantly faster. And in an emerging e-commerce world, faster is a competitive advantage for you and your customers. Third, you care because you're going to get more work out of the existing capacity. And this will help you take on new business or avoid adding infrastructure, right? And finally, you care because Automation creates a more consistent and higher quality process by eliminating touches and providing real-time error checking. And that will help you drive to that perfect order fill. Again, very important to you and your customers. So that's the why, and it is compelling. But frankly, it's the same why that's driven warehouse automation for decades. What's different now? And what's different is the how. So let's look at a couple of brief functionality points, and I want you to keep these in mind as we go through our story, through our use case. What's different, what's new, is the new generation of autonomous robots that work collaboratively with workers. And this makes them quite flexible in solving warehouse challenges. You can leverage the strengths of the automation and the people to drive better results. It's a classic 1 + 1 = 3 situation. So keep that collaboration and flexibility in mind as we walk through this story. In addition to this collaborative flexibility, NextShift Robotics has a unique patented secret sauce that enables 2 to 3 times the business benefit than our other collaborative solution competitors. And this is the ability to pick up and put down order totes. And this allows NextShift to separate and unconstrain the automation from the workers. So this is very important. Make a note of that ability to separate and optimize. Important difference. Because once you get that difference, all the pieces will fall into place. And as they say, the light bulb will go off. All right, so we begin our story by introducing our protagonist, Vic. And Vic is a vice president of logistics for a growing fashion socks company. He's got a 100,000 square foot facility in Atlanta from which they fulfill their wholesale and big box business. They've got 250 different sock styles with size and color variants that drive the SKU count up into the thousands. And everything has been going great for Vic and the company. The business has been growing, the customers love the product, but today, Vic isn't having a good day. He's got challenges, he's got problems. Over the last few years, he's seen the business shift from primarily case pick to more and more piece pick orders, each picks. And that e-commerce part of the business has been growing at 30% a year and shows no sign of stopping. So what started off as an annoyance is now a major part of his business, and he's struggling to fulfill this piece pick business and still make money. So initially, Vic just cordoned off a section of the distribution center to handle these piece pick orders. Now it's grown not only in footprint, but in labor and cost. And not only is he running out of physical space, but Vic has had to hire up to 20 pickers in this area over a couple of shifts. And that's a significant labor cost compared to the traditional case business. In the local market, he's competing with some well-known big companies for that same labor. And even when he can find people to hire and train them, he loses them to the big guys down the street. And this labor scarcity and churn is impacting his ability to fulfill these orders. And frankly, it's eating up a lot of his time. The shift to more e-commerce type orders has also come with higher expectations. What used to be a 2 or a 4-day fulfillment window has collapsed. These e-commerce customers, they want their socks and they want them now. And Vic is being pushed to deliver same day or worse, next day service. And he's just not set up for it. So he has equipped his workers with these multi-bay carts that they can push around or pull around the warehouse to collect the orders. And the carts get offloaded into a shipping location where they're packed and shipped. But as the business has grown, it has become harder to keep up. And the efficiency of his pickers has dropped to somewhere around 100 picks per worker per hour. And they're starting to miss those ship windows. So Vic he's having a bad day. He's running out of warehouse space. His labor costs are crushing the profitability of his business. He can't get the throughput he needs out of the existing process. It's taking too long to get the orders out, and he's missing his ship commits. And as the operation struggles to keep up, the pick error rates are climbing, and that creates a whole nother can of worms. He's going to have to start turning down business or maybe outsourcing this fulfillment. So Vic needs to find a way to bring his operation into line. So he decides it's time to look at automation to address these challenges. So what Vic wants to know is, can these new robots solve his piece picking labor capacity and delivery challenges? So Vic doesn't start with robots. He starts by looking at the classic fixed automation solutions, and he gets proposals to put in conveyor systems and classic automated storage and retrieval systems. And while these solutions are promising, Vic doesn't like that they require a large upfront investment and the potential redesign of the physical infrastructure. In some cases, he'd have to wall off entire sections of the operation so the automation could work without human intervention. And with the way his business has been changing, these solutions just are not flexible enough to keep up. They might solve today's challenge, but only with a big effort and a big investment. And even then, they might not solve next year's problem without a total tear out. So Vic isn't super thrilled with any of these fixed automation solutions. But he knows there have been advances in autonomous vehicles. He's not up to speed, so he calls his engineering manager, Andrea, to see if she can investigate autonomous mobile robots and robot-based solutions for him. And sure enough, Andrea tells Vic that she's more than willing to help. And they begin by looking at automating the carts that the workers are pushing around. And what they discover is that the automated cart solution is flexible, and it doesn't require a big infrastructure investment, but when they run the numbers, this solution doesn't give much of an efficiency boost because the workers are still having to travel too much travel time. So Vic and Andrea, they get demonstrations from a few of the well-known collaborative robotics companies. And this seems to be getting closer to what they need. In this case, the robot carries the tote around and meets the worker at the location. The initial deployment, they check that flexibility box. They don't require infrastructure. They can work collaboratively in the same space as the workers. And they're showing a good 1 to 2 time improvement. And that's pretty good. But Andrea, she notices one big problem. In these demonstrations, the robots are waiting at the location for the picker, or the picker is waiting for the robot. And all this waiting is just inefficiency. So Vic and Andrea, they're getting frustrated. These collaborative robot solutions are so close, if only they could eliminate all that waiting inefficiency. So Vic and Andrea decide to get one more demonstration, in this case from NextShift Robotics. And they get on a web meeting with Mary Ellen, and she walks them through the NextShift solution. And for this part of the webinar, we're going to play a video. And depending on your internet connection, it might show perfectly or it might be a bit herky-jerky, so bear with us. And this same video is on our website at nextshiftrobotics.com under the products tab if you want to view it again. So let's play the video as Mary Ellen walks Vic and Andrea through a demonstration of the robots. Bear with us a sec while we switch over.
Hi, Vic. Hi, Andrea. Thank you for requesting to see the NextShift Robotics solution in action. We find the best way to explain the system is to show you. Our solution has a patented 3-step process. The software tells the robots where to place the empty totes within the shelving. The workers place the verified items in the totes. The robots move the tote to the next picking location or to shipping. What you are seeing now is NextShift's unique capability that increases our efficiency. The robot loads and unloads the totes unassisted, which allows us to separate the robot and the worker, independently optimizing each. This capability increases your labor productivity and order velocity. To navigate the warehouse, the robots use sensor fusion, including LiDAR and cameras with internal lights for green warehouses with motion detection lighting. Back to our three-step process. The robot is placing an empty tote on the shelf. NextShift has the capacity to adjust the height of the robot to fit your warehouse. We also use any kind of shelving, which includes the type you already have. Once the robot has placed the tote, it moves on to its next task. In step 2, the worker picks an item. The workers pick in zones, which are dynamically adjusted by the system, and they use a web-based picking app that may be tailored to your requirements. The worker scans the item, its location in the tote. This lets the software know that the tote is ready to be moved to the next point in the workflow. In step 3, the robot retrieves the tote and moves it to its next location. The workers pick, the robot does the rest of the carrying and lifting. This is a second-generation robot. The first-generation robot, deployed in over 200 farms worldwide, was designed for agriculture, which traveled on gravel, dirt, and grass. NextShift robots have an industrial design and are built for the hard life in the warehouse. They drive through spills, cracks, and uneven flooring. The robots also incorporate smarts to be aware of their surroundings. They adjust their path for obstacles. They work collaboratively with workers. They stop for workers, and they reduce to half speed when traveling near workers. So, Vic, Andrea, the system is simple, smart, flexible, and affordable. The robot's gripper allows for the robot and the worker to do their work independently. The worker is not waiting for the robot. The robot is not waiting for the worker. Even the order tote is not tied to one robot and may be efficiently carried by multiple robots. We've seen increases in throughput from this solution from 2 to 6x, depending on your situation. The ROI is less than 12 months. They're quick to install. Unlike fixed automation solutions, you don't need to tear down your existing warehouse, and the solution adjusts as your business grows.
All right, great. So let's transition back to the story now. We should see the presentation again. Good. Excellent. So at the end of the NextShift demonstration by Mary Ellen, Vic and Andrea, they realized they found a solution to all their challenges. Here is a flexible, collaborative robotic solution that removes all the waiting, because workers, robots, and totes are separated to create maximum throughput. With this new insight, Vic and Andrea, they say, hey, let's test this out. Let's test out this NextShift stuff and see what results would be in our environment. So they run a sample set of orders with 6 of their existing workers, and they see some excellent results. In the test case, Vic and Andrea were able to increase the productivity of their workers and redirect half of their picking staff to other tasks. And this is the kind of labor efficiency Vic was looking for. It could turn his business around. But that's not all. They also saw that they were able to increase the efficiency and the velocity of the operation. And they saw a significant increase in the pick rates. And at the same time as reducing the labor required and increasing the pick rates, they were also able to collapse the total pick time. And Vic was thrilled with this because this would allow them to make more of those same-day ship contracts. So as we come to the end of our story and we leave Vic and Andrea to celebrate their success, let's review what we've seen today. What is this business case for the NextShift collaborative robotic solution? A more than doubling of the labor efficiency in the operation. Reducing the total time to get orders through the pick operation, so those end customers get their stuff when they want it. Getting more business done without expanding the footprint of the picking facility and avoiding that warehouse tear out. And since the robot workflow drives fewer touches and has error checking, the quality of the fulfillment improves. And this is accomplished by NextShift specifically through our unique ability to pick up and place totes that allows NextShift to separate the workers from the robots and eliminate that waiting problem. Robots replace those manual carts and most of the travel time for the workers. And of course, there's also a positive impact on the workers' physical stress because they don't have to push parts or lift totes. And all of this makes for a very compelling business case. And as you can see, and what Vic and Andrea discovered, is that indeed robots can solve your piece picking, labor, capacity, and delivery challenges. But they can also be a game changer, especially in situations of accelerating growth and accelerating change that we see so often in business today. The solution can be a game changer. So now I'm going to move you towards the exit. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate your attention. That concludes our story of one of the use cases that is accelerating in the adoption of autonomous, mobile, collaborative, smart robots. And we'd love to explore your specific use cases. Maybe we can be a game changer for your business. You've got my direct mobile number here and my email, so let's talk. And thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much. We look forward to hearing from you.